Hello and welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today. And if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend because, hey, it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Hello and welcome, folks. It is time to dive in on today's topic, serving your workforce using HR data to retain and engage your teams. That's right. We're looking into how tech, and more specifically data, can be collected and used to measure the satisfaction of your team, the effectiveness of your management style, and nurture the people in your organization. It's a unique challenge to keep the human element live and thriving in the workplace when more and more we are working in remote and hybrid scenarios. Can we manage to use technology and data to help connect and engage your teams? Absolutely. And today you will learn how this is being done in the industry right now, and some new tactics and some new tools that you could potentially use in your organization. I'm excited for this timely conversation today with industry experts, and we also have an amazing keynote lined up for you to get things kicked off shortly. My name is Mackenzie Puddesy, and I'm a moderator here at Actual Tech Media. My friends and fellow moderators, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, Keith Ward, and of course, myself are all here on live chat today. And Keith will also be doing our keynote in a minute. If it's your first EcoCast with me, it's great to meet you, and thank you for being here. It's gonna be good. Now, I've got more interesting news. Other than incredibly valuable information, I've also got some prizes for you. Today on the EcoCast, you could win one of three $300 Amazon gift cards that we will be giving away to 3 lucky winners who are here, present, and live with us at the EcoCast. And as mentioned in the housekeeping chat this morning, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. And hey, with that last little thing, we are ready to rock. To kick things off in style, I'm so excited to introduce our keynote speaker and fellow moderator, Keith Ward, who will be opening up our minds to this topic and setting the stage for today. Keith, if you're ready, I am going to kick things over to you. Hit it.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I am so excited to be here today. And hi to everyone else joining us on the EcoCast. I'm Keith Ward, a moderator with Actual Tech Media, and it is truly my pleasure to talk to you today about the ways that you can use HR data to improve your operations and keep employees happier. Now, those are both worthy goals, aren't they? So let us count the ways you can harness the data that may have previously lain dormant. All right. So, number 1, implementing employee feedback mechanisms. So, got a question for you. How happy are your employees? Do you actually know? Well, if you don't know, you are missing a key piece of the puzzle. So, regularly gathering feedback from employees through surveys, interviews, or suggestion boxes can provide invaluable insights into their satisfaction levels, their concerns, and suggestions. Analyzing this HR data allows organizations to identify areas for improvement and tailor retention strategies accordingly. So, for example, if feedback indicates dissatisfaction with communication channels, perhaps implementing more transparent and accessible communication platforms can enhance their engagement and retention. So, number 2, utilize predictive analytics. So, how likely are your employees to quit, as you can see on the slide here? Or conversely, how likely are they to stay long term? Now, these are essential things to know, and predictive analytics can help you there. That's because using this HR data to forecast things like employee turnover or disengagement enables proactive interventions. By analyzing this historical data on factors like performance, attendance, and tenure, predictive analytics can identify these patterns that are indicative of potential attrition. And this foresight can empower HR teams to intervene with targeted retention initiatives like career development opportunities, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, personalized recognition programs, or workload adjustments, which mitigate the risk of losing valuable talent. Number three, personalized development plans. Now, it's no secret to any of us that employees who are learning new things and improving their skill sets tend to be happier, more productive workers. Think about yourself, for example. When you are training, when you're going further beyond the limitations of your current role, perhaps, when you're extending yourself, it makes you happier. So, this HR data in this regard can help facilitate the creation of personalized development plans that are tailored to individual employee aspirations and skill gaps. Analyzing these performance metrics, training history, and career goals allows HR professionals to design targeted learning experiences and career pathways. And providing employees with opportunities for growth and advancement not only enhances their engagement, but also it fosters loyalty and commitment to the organization, right? If they feel like that you are invested in them and them learning more and going farther and perhaps getting promotions and raises in the future, they're much more likely to stay. It seems common sense, but it's amazing how often this kind of thing can be forgotten. All right. And finally, one of the things that the HR data that you may not be using can do is to promote work-life balance initiatives. This is more important than ever in today's environment, especially with employees who are tasked with doing more and having fewer resources, right? The boss comes to you and says, hey, do more, but you have less, right? That is something so many of us can relate to. And this can lead to burnout. Now, burnout is always something you want to avoid, as high levels of stress or burnout can significantly impact engagement and retention of these employees that are essential to your work. So, analyzing the HR data related to work, things like workload, overtime, utilization rates, can provide insights into employees' work-life balance, which is critical to maintain if you want your workers to stick around. And this is true, I think, if you're in a hybrid environment where you're working from home and going into the office, whether you're in the office full time or whether you're working remotely full time. They all have their own challenges, and it's important to understand how they can impact the employee's mental health and status. So, by identifying departments or teams with disproportionately heavy workloads, HR can implement strategies like flexible scheduling, remote work options, or wellness programs to promote a healthier work-life balance. These kinds of things, especially since the pandemic hit, have become more and more important to employees, whether they work entirely remotely, entirely in the office, or whether there is some hybrid environment, as we talked about before. And they all have their different challenges. And it is up to you as the HR folks or involved with getting them the data to understand how these balances are affected so you can minimize the effects of their environment and make sure that they're not burning out too quickly. And folks, there you have it. Think about implementing some or all of these techniques to improve your employees' happiness and therefore retention. This absolutely can put you ahead of the game. If you're keeping your employees around longer, we all know how difficult and resources intensive it is to retrain employees, or to train new employees, I should say. If they're quitting on you, all the time. I mean, there's a reason for that, isn't there? It's something that you need to find out. And not having to constantly onboard new employees gives you an advantage because those folks who have been around for a while are going to be the ones who have the most knowledge, who have the greatest efficiencies, and are the ones who are going to put you ahead of the competition. And with that, everyone, it is time now to throw this back to you, Mackenzie. You folks are going to learn so much more about these topics throughout the rest of the event today, and I hope you have a great one. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Keith. You are such a rock star. I have to agree. The ability to find and keep talent these days is a true challenge, and that's something I actually hear a lot from different teams is, how do we find talent? How do we keep them around? And so today's really valuable for that. I also love that chat about the personalized development plan. That resonates with me because I'm constantly curious. And that's why I love moderating these webinars. I'm always in sponge mode and have a chance to learn what's happening on the bleeding edge of tech. How about you folks? Are you in sponge mode today out in the audience? I hope so. Now, you might have already noticed, but there's a question up for you on a poll just to make sure you're all awake and alive and enthusiastic out there. So the question is, what is your time frame for adding new or existing, or updating your existing IT solutions at your company? 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12, 12 to 24, or maybe you're not sure and you're still just here getting a lay of the land, doing some preliminary research, and that's also a good place to be. Now, we are going to kick things off with our first speaker in one quick second, but I do want to remind you all that the more interactive you are, the better. So if you haven't said hello in the chat window there, feel free to say a hello now. I'm giving you a virtual wave from over here on my end. And please be interactive and ask as many questions as you like as you have interesting ideas come up throughout the webinar today. Today's EcoCast is short and sweet, but it is absolutely packed with valuable info. Other than the keynote, we just have one speaker today to shed light on this topic and then give you back a little bit of extra time to spend in your day. But that said, we have made a few extra minutes for questions. So again, please send those in. We'll be really excited to hear what you have and what ideas come up as we go through the webinar. Additionally, I'm going to close out that poll, and then I'm going to introduce our first speaker today. Well, first and final, but, making it count here. So from WorkLeap, I have got Jaylene Vandermee Jackson. She is the Senior Enterprise CS Manager. And Jaylene, I'm so excited for our conversation today. I'm going to let you present, and then I'm going to hop back on with some Q&A after you have wrapped things up. So for now, the stage is yours. Take it away, Jaylene.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction, Mackenzie. My name is Jaylene. I'm a customer success manager for WorkLeap Office Vibe, and I'm looking forward to talking to you today about how to use your HR data to retain and engage your teams. So I do work directly with many of our clients who are looking for ways to utilize their data and important topics like this. So employee data is really your compass during turbulent times. Why should you measure this? Great question. So employees who are not engaged or who are actively disengaged cost the world around $8.8 trillion in lost productivity. So this is according to Gallup's State of the Global Workplace report from 2023. That's equal to roughly 9% of global GDP. So that's a big deal. In 2022, 23% of the world's employees were engaged at work. This is an increase of 2 percentage points from 2021 and surpasses the prior high point of 22% recorded in 2019. So just to give you an idea of where we're going and why we want to cover these topics, this is really important. So when we're looking at our HR data, what are some important things and best practices when we're analyzing engagement data? We want to use indicators and segments, things like team structures, hierarchies, trying to pinpoint those individual places where we can see these sentiments and points of engagement. We want to identify trends upon demographics and Workleap Office Vibe is really capable of doing that with you and for you, both for team structures related to direct managers and hierarchies, as well as with demographical segments. So grouping your people in different forms of demographical grouping so that you can see those trends upon different areas within your organization as well. And leveraging overviews to see the bigger picture. Our tool really does offer a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of helpful reports to help you track your data across multiple areas. So when we think about what we should measure, well, we think that you should measure your engagement based on our 10 key metrics of engagement. So this is a good overview of what they look like. We'll take a look at what they look like in our platform as well. So what does this mean? All of these 10 key metrics are an overall view of what we encompass as the employee engagement model. They each have their own sub-metrics related into them, as well as their own questions. So digging deep into these looks like going into the platform, analyzing your scores, looking at your different groupings based on demographic or team level and team structure. So when we go into the platform, we'll be able to see, but there's other areas where we can look. There are things like onboarding surveys to help you identify needs early on. We have a DEIB, or Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging survey set with additional questions in there to monitor these trends across your organization as well. Like I mentioned, all of these 10 key metrics have their own sub-metrics that dive a little bit deeper into the tool to show you exactly where the trends are and how you can look at them across multiple teams and structures as well. When we look at one of our clients, Stingray here, we want to take a good snapshot. They've got a really great success story. So to highlight that today, I'll talk about them. They're a Montreal-based music, media, and tech company with about 1,200 employees right now. They implemented Workleap Office Vibe in the winter of 2020 to keep a pulse on their growing team and help them stay connected to their workforce and the broader employee sentiment. Workleap Office Vibe also helped check another box on their employee strategy and their employee experience software wish list, a tool that would help them make informed, data-backed decisions to help really support their employees' needs. And what correlations do we see between them and OV Business Prosperity? Office Vibe provides us with an opportunity to better understand our employees by showing that we care and showing that we take action on things that matter to them. We impact productivity and business objectives. And that's how I see the correlation between the two. So that really comes from them directly. And you can see that there's a lot of strong statements in there. When we look at that spotlight on them, we can see that they have a really strong relationship with manager score, really strong relationship with peer score, and an ENPS of 18. ENPS measures the employee net promoter score. So in that sense, we're asking how often employees would recommend their organization as a good place to work. And here we can see that the employees do have a lot of good things to say. We can look briefly at the ENPS directly in Workleap Office Vibe as well to get a good look at what that means. But when you have a score above 0, this simply means you have more promoters than detractors, and we can really see that in their score as well. So what features are they using the most? ENPS, that's a good indicator for a quick pulse check on how people are feeling in the organization. They're using their survey reports, which is the overall engagement score across all of our 10 key metrics, so that aggregated average. Participation rates, ensuring that they've got a really nice, well-rounded and good population to gather data from. When you have actively encouraged members who are actively using the surveys in the tool, we know that we've got a strong population and data set to actually take these trends and actions from. Lastly, they use our recognition tool, Good Vibes, to really help drive recognition and identify different users and members within their organization who are both giving and receiving recognition, showing that their good work and their hard work is being recognized internally as well. So they use Office Vibe really to gather meaningful engagement data, implement new HR strategies using this data, and monitor the success of their HR initiatives. We'll be able to see what this looks like in the platform together. And how they are able to leverage that data with things like weekly reports for the whole team, department-specific reports or director calls, and sharing overarching trends during the town halls. So how you can use that share function in Office Vibe to really share that data and bring visibility to the scores. And the main benefits that Stingray sees is having reliable feedback from their hybrid workforce, which is a reality a lot of us are working within today, especially post 2020, and data that helps them to influence business decisions. So these are really important indicators. When you're looking at the data that Office 5 provides you, you're able to really take action on what's happening within the tool. So how do we do it with WorkLeap Office 5? I've touched on it a couple times, but we'll look at the survey report and the overall engagement score for our 10 key metrics. We also have a new AI-generated topic analysis that feeds directly from your feedback. So our AI topic analysis report will pool your feedback based on trending topics within your organization. So we'll have a look at that along with the trends that it shows you. I touched on it earlier as well, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, or as we call it, DEIB. This is a small subset of questions that gets tacked on to your Pulse survey report so that you can gather further ideas and understandings about how the workforce is feeling and other ways to monitor your EX initiatives. So why don't we hop over into the platform now so we can look exactly at where these exist in our platform in WorkLeap Office 5 and how you can utilize them as well. All right, so here we are in the Office 5 platform. I've hopped right in directly to our Pulse survey report. So this is the overall aggregated score for those 10 key metrics that I was touching on earlier. So here we see right when you hop into your Pulse survey report, you get great indicators on what's happening across your organization. Or if you're looking to specify by certain teams or segments, so those demographical groupings I was talking about earlier, you can go ahead and go in there and do that. So if I wanted to see certain segments, like maybe a location segment or a different demographic based on generation, you have the ability to do that and find how your members are feeling in different subsets of the organization. If you wanted to see further trends, you can also choose a longer time period on the graph to give us more indications on what's happening over time. So when we're talking about tracking those EX initiatives, we have a really great time frame to look at our variations across. When we go down, we can see those 10 key metrics of engagement I was discussing before. So they're all in here. We have really great visual indicators for how your scores are as well. So when you go in, there's not a lot of analysis that is manual in WorkLeap Office 5. You can go in and simply see the trends based on the variations next to the metric themselves, whether or not they're trending downwards or upwards. What I like to say as well is that it's really focused on the trends that you see in your scores and rather than the scores themselves. So it's important to see where you've come from and where your scores are now based on those trends. If we clicked into them, we can also see the 2 to 3 submetrics that feed up into those main metrics as well. So we get a different viewpoint here where we can even track further information based on these different submetrics. So when I'm looking here, if I'm doing some deeper analysis, I want to see maybe how the submetrics are around collaboration, trust, and communication with the manager. I have the ability to do that. Again, I like to focus on the trends here. So you want to make sure you're focusing on where you've started from and where you're going. So we see that there has been a really great increase in this metric, relationship with manager. So we would want to recognize that we've done some work here and that we have accomplished something great. When we look at the different reports as well, like I said, you can see a lot of different things across various trends here across different teams and segments. You have the ability to look at different teams or segments across this Pulse survey overview. And here, if you wanted to select all, you would even be able to see all of the teams that you have access to, which is a great indicator for an HR professional or somebody at the top of an organization who's looking to track trends across multiple groupings. Now, as I mentioned, feedback is a really important topic in WorkLeap Office 5, and we want you to be able to track those trends and see what's happening here. So we see by default, we do have a lot of anonymous feedback. Office 5 provides you the option to submit feedback anonymously or by showing your identity. So it's very much up to the user. But when you're in here as a manager, we'll show you different indicators as well. So whether or not the feedback coming through is constructive or positive. So you'll have those visual indicators right away when you come through. I was talking about our AI generated feedback topics report as well. So let's go in here and have a look at what that looks like. So we have developed our own AI generated feedback topic report to populate all of the data across your organization into this report. You can see the trends here, positive feedback versus constructive feedback, and how they've been trending over the last 30 days, as well as the different topics that arise. So if I scroll down, I can see the different topics that are really trending in your organization, and how often they've been mentioned and what the variation is over the last 30 days. So if I click into opportunity, for example, I can see the amalgamation of all of the feedback that's come up in the organization for this topic, as well as the related topics that have been generated around that sentiment. So you can also see different correlative data regarding your feedback and how things have been operating in your organization. We also give indicators on how much anonymous feedback is coming through on certain topics, so that you get an idea of how comfortable people are with showing their identity with the feedback as well. So in this gives you a really great overview at the organization level to show you how things are trending over time, and how your sentiments are coming across in the organization. Lastly, we'll show the DEIB survey results here. So if I hover into here, we'll be able to see the trends overall. So the aggregated score over 10 for the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, as well as all of the different various questions within the DEIB survey set, and how each different topic has its own aggregated score. So scrolling down here, I can see the trends across the different topics. So inclusion and belonging here, for example, each have their own score. And when I hover on the question themselves, I can see the percentage breakdown on how these questions have been answered in my organization. We also do something specific with this one and show you the percentage of people who've skipped this question, which can help provide you indicators on questions that people might feel a little less more comfortable answering. So this can in turn give you indicators on how to do that, and where to focus your strategies. Maybe if there's specific questions around inclusion that people are less comfortable with answering, you'd be able to focus those. Now, lastly, before we hop over to the Q&A, I wanted to show you one area that we think is really important, and that's about sharing and monitoring your EX initiatives. So in the overall engagement score graph, you are also able to track highlights, things like team building exercises. Maybe you have a company-wide town hall, things that you might have an expected outcome towards your overall engagement score. You're able to track these highlights based on date and whether or not you want them shared with the team or only restricted to certain managers in the organization. This helps you helps you track the different events or things that you might have done. For example, here we can see that there is a highlight on this graph now showing that there was maybe a custom survey launched, and seeing how those initiatives really do end up impacting your scores. Lastly, we allow for team visibility on the overall engagement score report. So this allows you to toggle this on and give visibility across the organization for the overall scores and metric scores and the submetrics as well, to provide transparency and build trust within the tool. So with WorkLeap Office 5, we do really think that the scores should be visible to all so that everybody can interact with them and that there is an open sense of discussion around them. So this is one of the great ways that you can share the results with your team, encourage that really important discourse around the WorkLeap Office 5 engagement scores, and create easy conversations between managers and their members.
Great presentation. This is really interesting to see how kind of the human element of managing your people and HR is being backed by data and being finessed by actually having information and tools. So yeah, I think this is great. I'm excited to dive into this.
Great.
Okay, so first question I've got here, this is from Julian. What role does employee engagement data play in streamlining payroll processes and managing overall company finances?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. Within the WorkLeap Office 5 question set, we do have some questions that are related to pay equity and fairness within the organization. We do think that that is something that that comes about and does really affect the overall engagement. So although, WorkLeap Office Vibe is really a tool focused for managers and their teams, we think that fairness and the perception of fairness and equity is a really important function. So if we do go in here into the question set, so I'm just going to scroll down into our question results, where we can actually see questions related to fairness. So actually, let me just go in here. Under satisfaction. So our question set related to fairness here, as we can see, focuses a lot on the perception of pay equity and fairness equity within the organization. And I think that it's only fair to say that, people's perception of pay equity and fairness really does feed into their feelings of the engagement towards an organization. So we do bring awareness to this. And I think that this is a great pulse to show how members are feeling. Because all of our data is anonymously aggregated as well, it allows the members to really answer their true, honest feelings about how they feel about these things. So when we're thinking about that, I think that payness and the perception of pay and the perception of fairness and equity really does help, feed the indicators of employee engagement, and that perception of fairness is going to feed into engagement. So we do have those indicators built in as well.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna hog the questions section for a second. I'm actually quite interested in this eNPS. Previously, I've worked with NPS scores or Net Promoter Scores for clients, but I've never seen it used internally. So can you shed a little bit more light on like that? What types of questions there are, or is it just a like, I'm a 1, I'm a 5, I'm an 8, like kind of thing?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we do have one question specifically that feeds into the eNPS score within WorkLeap Office Vibe, and it's our only scheduled question. So once every 3 months, we send out the question to all of the members in an organization that asks, on a scale from 0 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend your organization as a good place to work? So we take that methodology of NPS and push forward it to the members in an organization to get the eNPS, the Employee Net Promoter Score. And because we time it, we ensure that members are seeing this question on a regular cadence and seeing it and being able to answer it as the trends happen. I mean, WorkLeap Office Vibe itself, as a pulse tool, we want to make sure that we're capturing these sentiments as they come up. So the eNPS question is just one question. But what I do like about our methodology is that we track the passives and the skips in an organization and at the team level. So like the DEIB question set, where you can see the questions that were skipped, you can see the percentage in your organization or at a team level of the amount of people that have either skipped it or haven't seen it in the last 30 days or 90 days to give you a good indication of how people feel and where they're at. So we even have an eNPS history, so you can see under across different time periods. If I wanted to say maybe the last 6 months to see how the score has changed, we do have a lot of different indicators in here, so you can see these trends over time in an organization to see how the sentiment of the organization is feeling.
Could you be like year on year, where like, hey, summer slump, people are unsatisfied in summer, or like around Christmas, people are really stressed or something like that?
Yeah, well, you could track it. That's it. We do see other indicators around participation rate and seasonality and things of that nature, but this is a really great way to track how your initiatives are going. And if there is a big fluctuation in something like a strategy internally or something that's happened, you can monitor your eNPS in conjunction with your overall engagement score, using that highlight as well, the highlight feature on the graph. So that allows you to track how those trends are affecting various facets of the engagement score.
Cool. Awesome.
Great.
Okay, there's quite a few more questions, so I'll keep things rolling. Next one is, how can HR leverage data to create a more supportive workplace culture that fosters employee loyalty and satisfaction?
Well, that's great. I mean, with not just within the overall engagement score, because of course we do have different indicators for personal growth, satisfaction, and happiness. There are other things built into our tool like Good Vibes. So Good Vibes is our recognition tooling as well. So this allows you to share good vibes and recognition with people. We can have a look at it here, where you have this really fun interactive platform for recognition and fostering a really great workplace between members. This is peer to peer, but it can also be manager to peer, manager to manager. It's really for everybody. So our Good Vibes recognition tool really does help to, I think, foster that workplace for people. And as members are answering the surveys, of course, I'll just skip back to the Pulse survey again. You do have the ability there to really track those indicators of happiness and the various metrics and submetrics. So if we went into happiness, for example, we can see those 2 or 3 submetrics related specifically to happiness, work-life balance, and happiness at work, for example. We also have tooltips all over the platform to really help just bring a level of understanding about what our questions are trying to enact from a feeling perspective. So if we're seeing trends like work-life balance going down, these are ways that you can use the reports to leverage, different strategies to help bring things up or affect the organization.
All right. Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more questions here. Next one is, how does listening to employee feedback through data analytics contribute to better engagement and retention strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big
What's the
one. I would say,
practical side of that, I think.
yeah, across, all of the clients that I work with, we do analyze the trends in feedback and feedback response rate. So if I hop back into our feedback report, for example, I'll just show you one of the other reports that's built in here, which is response rate. So we do see a direct correlation between feedback response rate and engagement in WorkLeap Office Vibe. And then, of course, the more engagement you have in the tool, the more information you have to gather these insights and act on. So we want as many people responding as possible. Of course, just that you have a proper data set of data to work off of, and making sure that the data set is reliable. You want to do that. So we recommend that managers go in and respond to feedback once a week and respond to all sorts of feedback. Oftentimes I see trends where constructive feedback is prioritized over positive feedback. But I think that positive feedback is overlooked in the sense that there's often really great insights in there and constructive criticism and things that might not appear as something actionable. But if you go into the positive feedback itself, you really do see that there's a lot of insight in there. So responding to feedback is also just simply a great way to engage with your team members, and giving back that same level of effort that they've been so willing to provide in as well. Just that simple act of responding and creating a conversation around the feedback really does open up a lot of trust building opportunities, transparency in the tool, and building up that conversation with the manager and their member. So I think in turn, it just creates opportunities for great collaboration and engagement between the manager and the member, and engagement within the tool. So it's a win-win-win.
How do you see that playing out? Is it often the tool and it's kind of within the platform, or are some of your user groups also taking that data and putting it into like staff meetings, town halls, different getaways, things like that?
Yeah, I think that on the day-to-day, when we're looking at things like the feedback response rate, we want to use a tool like this not to single out managers that maybe haven't responded to feedback, but when we have things like the topic report, this is where we can take those topics and share them at the organization level. We want to be very sensitive with feedback, so I wouldn't recommend sharing feedback that's been given at a town hall, for example, but we can use these things like the topic report to take action. So I would say that a screen grab like this is something that you could really share at a town hall to show the overall topics. But we want to be respectful too about the feedback that's being left, that members maybe are leaving it knowing that their managers are seeing it, but they might not want to share that with their peers. So using things like the trending topics can help create HR strategies to move forward and see where there are really great areas of opportunity.
All righty. Excellent. Okay, I have one final question here because we're about at time, but this one sounds pretty good. So, question is, how can diversifying hiring practices based on data analytics positively impact employee engagement and long-term retention?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, people want to work for a place that they feel they belong in. And especially in a hybrid workforce where we're all a lot of us are working from home. Maybe we're, all across the world working together and trying to collaborate. I think that when we're looking at that feeling of belonging and that sense of belonging, when you feel like have that sense of understanding and belonging in an organization, you really feel like you're willing to contribute and wanting to do the best that you can. So if we hop back into our diversity and inclusion survey set, for example, we can see here how those questions on inclusion and belonging, really when they're on a higher scale there, we can see it will trend into employees feeling like, they're willing to give back, just like when they have they feel like their organization has their back as well. So using these types of things and considering, just hiring a wider, I would say, diverse portfolio or diverse grouping of people in an organization, it also helps to provide different viewpoints that, you might not see within your own. So I think that there's only benefits to this, and really having a tool like this can help identify those areas of opportunity. But at the end of the day, people want to belong. People should feel like they belong in an organization. We're very in tune to that now. And I know that diversity and inclusion is a big topic for HR professionals that I work with as well. So just getting those different viewpoints and using tools like this to identify opportunities for strategies internally can only benefit everybody. And I think that it's a good opportunity to diversify the employee experience for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head where, like, when someone loves the place they work and you ask them, like, oh, it's amazing, I'm so happy here,
Yeah.
it definitely affects my perspective of that company, even as a consumer, where I'm like, everyone loves them, it's got to be doing something good.
Of
So it
course, of course.
definitely, that goes a long way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you can see how these types of questions would feed in across the tool, right? So something like this would feed really into your employee net promoter score, for example. Would you be willing to recommend it as a good place to work? Probably more so if you're feeling like you really belong and there's a good sense of inclusion and equity in the organization.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, we do have to kind of wrap things up here time-wise, but thank you for being here. I do have one sneaky final question.
Okay.
If someone does want to get started with WorkLeap and get involved, try out the platform, where should they go? What should they do? What's the first step?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can reach out to us. I'll stop sharing and bring up my presentation again, because we do have a QR code in there where you can go directly into go directly to request a demo. So I'll just share that for the final slide here again. So the QR code here will allow you to request a demo with our wonderful team and get in contact. We also have a great support team. If you wanted to reach out directly to support@office5.com, we'll be able to direct you in the right to the right people. But we're here to help, and you can go directly to our website and request a demo as well. So if you go to workleap.com, you'll be able to get in touch with us directly there.
So thank you so much again, Jolene. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mackenzie. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. We didn't manage to get to your question today during the session. I want to assure you that all of your questions will be passed onwards to the WorkLeap team, and they'll reach out to you with the answers and information that you are looking for. Thank you again for being so interactive and sending in a ton of questions during the session. I want to point out that I have put up a poll question for you all. We'd love to get your feedback on any additional resources that you'd like to explore from WorkLeap. Your feedback is valuable. This is kind of like an easy button. If you're looking for a data sheet, a case study, personal demo, just click what you're looking for and we will get it handed right over to you. I do want to remind you as well to check the handouts tab where you can get WorkLeap's ebook. It is about 40 pages, PDF, guide to employee engagement surveys. This will be a perfect way to follow up on the convo we just had with Jaylene. It's visually attractive and also has some great step-by-step action plans on how to put this into action quickly and easily, so definitely worth a read. And right now, we are at the part of the webinar where I have not one, not two, but three $300 Amazon gift cards to give away. And just a quick reminder that you must be present at the webinar to win. So a little drum roll on your desks or countertops, please. Here are our lucky winners. First and foremost, we have J Primavera from Texas. Second gift card goes to David Warren from Georgia. And the third and final goes to Bethany Garrettson from Michigan. Again, Jay Primavera from Texas, David Warren from Georgia, and Bethany Garrettson from Michigan. A huge congrats to all three of you. As always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after the webinar. And don't forget that there's still that $50 best question gift card that will be selected as well. So if you did ask a question, thank you, and you may be a lucky winner today. If you are on the webinar today and you would like to chat with us about presenting on a future summit, EcoCast, or MegaCast webinar, we would love to hear from you. The way to do that is reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com. And with that, and on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank all of our speakers from WorkLeap, as well as Keith Ward from our team giving the keynote, for making this EcoCast possible, and for being here with us today. And again, a special thank you for all of you for attending and asking some great questions. I had so much fun with you all today about learning about serving your workforce using HR data to retain and engage your teams. I hope you've all gotten some interesting ideas and tips, and maybe you're leaving feeling lit up and ready to take some next steps. Now, if you did enjoy your time here today and you want to check out an upcoming EcoCast, mark your calendars for after the Easter weekend here. Next up, we have Getting Started with Multi-Cloud Management. This is on Wednesday, April 3rd, 12 p.m. Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific. Our friends at Nutanix, as well as Scale Computing, will be presenting. And with that, I hope to see you again soon. Wishing you the best over the Easter weekend if you have plans. And until next time, have a magical day.